Hey there, hope you're having a good week. I'm Julie Tam, managing broker of LYN Realty in Houston, and you're watching Smarter Real Estate weekly on Wednesdays. And today's special series, Building My Dream Home. Well, I said, I think in the last video that we were down to the last couple or few weeks of construction, and here we are again a few weeks later, and we're still down to the final few weeks, but that's the way it goes with new construction. It just, drags out. There's all these little things, especially with custom builds that just happen, at the end. That's just that last 5% seems to take a long time compared to the first, bit of construction. So, but today we're going to look at the exterior of the home and all of the elements that have been installed. It's just nearly complete here. You can see I'm standing at the front porch, or actually at the bottom of the front staircase leading up to the front porch. And this is a really nice called Brazilian elephant gray tile. And, they installed it. And the interesting thing was when we came down from the top step, I actually almost tripped coming down off the top step to the second step. And then we took a measuring tape and discovered that that top step was actually 8 inches high. And then the rest of them were 6.25. So when you have that big of a difference, then of course you're going to be like, whoa, that's a huge step. And then all of a sudden the steps get smaller. So they corrected that by adding a thinner layer on top. Instead of the hardy board, there was a different material that's actually more expensive in order to lower the height of that and then reinstall the tile. And of course, they did some other things, underneath while they had, brought it up and was trying to fix this problem. And so, yes, now it's fixed. Now it's about 7 and less than 3/4. And so that's pretty much the maximum height, according to the contractor, that step should be, and then the rest of them. So it feels much more natural and uniform at this point. You can see the custom ironwork that's been done on the stairs, the railing going all the way up, converting from the railing like this to just a handrail as it goes around the side there along the stucco. The gas lamps are also installed. As you can see, flanking, not all of them are on right now, but flanking the front door on the stone pediment that's also in that we didn't see before, and looking really nice. And there's a little roof material, metal roof also at the top of that pediment. I want to show you this gutter over here and the downspout. We actually had this rerouted to make it more subtle because before it was kind of like sticking out. You might have seen in a previous video, but now it runs along the side of the house, along the edge. And so it's just more hidden, which is the effect that we were going for. Okay, we're also going to look at landscaping today. So you can see what's been planted. It is over 100 degrees. It's been that way the whole summer pretty much this year. You can see the black star gravel in the side yard that goes all the way back. There is a side gate there, a wooden gate that's set back a little bit. You don't want your gate to be too far forward where it's kind of, not that attractive. It's an attractive gate, but, it's not a feature you want to highlight to where it supersedes the front of your house. A holly tree right here. There are some City of Houston requirements as to where you need to plant what types of trees. And so we had to have our landscaper follow that. And then if you look at the flower beds here, we have 3 rows. That very back row is Plum Delight. We have that type of bush, I guess you would call it, at our current home, and it has lasted really well with very little maintenance, sometimes not even remembering to water it through winter and extreme heat in the summer. And so we thought, you know what, since it's worked for us, let's just put that in. There's a lot of plants that people are discovering just are not withstanding this over 100-degree heat for months at a time, and also very little water. We've had in Houston, actually, we've had hardly any rain. We went more than a 45-day stretch without rain this summer, and that much heat, that's really intense. So the plants that have survived are the ones that we were going for. So as you can see, this row, the front row, is the Yopon, which lines also this driveway. We have this T-shaped driveway that juts out here, and in order to kind of mask the large amount of concrete, we want to have this type of shrubbery all along here, so that way from the street you're seeing the shrubbery. Right now all of the plants are small, but then over time they will grow bigger, taller, and also wider to fill in the gaps in between. You can see all the mulch here. The current modern day look is to have the mulch just blend seamlessly and transition right into the grass instead of having some sort of landscape border, whether it be brick or stone or any sort of other material that you might have seen in homes that are not as up to date. We have a live oak that we see right out front. That's supposed to grow big, kind of like the trees that you see around us. Ultimately, it's going to take decades to get that large. So we're glad to have a little bit of shade from the neighbor's tree. Okay, so as we walk through here, these are drift roses. Knockout roses are very common. We decided to go with these this time based on the information the landscaper gave us, and it's a cute look, and they do bloom throughout the year. And so, also, all of these plants are flowering plants that will give us some color different times of the year. They're pretty low maintenance. Okay, we can see this strip here, a transition gap between the driveway and this part of the driveway under the porte-cochere. So we have the black star gravel in here. As you can see, this black star gravel and any sort of stone like this, look, they can kind of come out, right? As you drive over it or people walk past it and kick it. So if you have too much of this stuff in these types of gaps, like a lot of people find it really attractive, and I do too, to have concrete steps, pavers, like squares, and then in between have a gap of the black star gravel and then another paver. And so you've got multiple gaps of that, but then it can be annoying because then you've got gravel kind of going everywhere and you got to just keep it tidy. If you do grass in those gaps, that can also be a challenge. You got to maintain it and always keep it mowed. If it's overgrown, then it's going to look unkempt and not so great either. And you can see we've done the concrete steps here. Now this, obviously you've got grass in between, not a whole long stretch of it. Ooh, let me not fall over here. Gonna open this gate to take you to the side yard. So same thing back here, right? Like we've got the grass in between. Luckily, this is behind the gate, so then if the landscaper is late coming to mow, then people don't notice it so much. Right now, the grass is overgrown because they planted it. They're not going to mow it so soon. They've got it on sprinkler system to try to, get the grass to really thrive. Obviously, in this heat, you can see some of it's pretty dry, and hopefully it'll fill in and whatnot. But the weeds are definitely thriving already so quickly. You can see drains like that one right there. And we're back. I told you it was hot, over 100 degrees. My phone overheated and said, you can't record anymore, and it shut down. So we had to go inside the house and let it cool off for a while before we could continue shooting. So what I was trying to say about the drain covers is that they are throughout the yard. Whenever they're in grass, it's fine to leave them the way they are. But then over on the other side of the house, that side yard where I said that they have black star gravel throughout the entire side yard, because it's hard for grass to grow over there, it's a little more shaded, then we needed them to put a layer of mesh underneath that top cover where the grates are, because otherwise some of the smaller gravel pieces will actually fall through the grates and start clogging the drain. We didn't want that to happen, and so with the mesh being that those are smaller holes, that would prevent the gravel from just like completely falling into the drain. Okay, so want to continue on and show you that there's a staircase that leads up to the utilities up there, and they still have to install a railing to keep it safer for people to walk up and down. And then we've got more black star gravel under the staircase. I don't know, can you see this cobweb? It's huge. It's like, ooh. We have a lot of lizards in the yard. I really hope they do their jobs better because I've caught a few cockroaches dying inside the house. Speaking of that, we did have pest control done. So you want to have pest control done, as a preventative measure. We had them spray in the crawl space under the house, which means they had to clean out a lot of that trash and debris. There's still a little bit under there. And they sprayed around the perimeter. Where else did they spray? Yeah, that was pretty much it. Okay. There are other options where they can drill holes through the concrete to go underneath, but we didn't want that because that would just be really unsightly. Here we are at the back patio. This is a ground level patio because we have another one that's above ground, which is in line with the height of the first floor. This is a huge area, which is going to be really exciting because we'll be able to put a patio table with chairs that we currently have at our current home, and then still have a lot of space for the kids to run around. And I said kids in case you missed one of my previous videos. We are expecting our second and final child. It is a boy. I think this is the first time I'm announcing this as part of this video series, and due in February. So that's why I'm a little big in the middle and swollen. So, oh yes, and I would like to address all you haters out there. I have had throughout so much of my career in television, for I guess since the early 2000s, and then even now on YouTube, where people want to accuse me of having had lip injections or Botox. Let me just say that if you've ever seen my baby picture, which I think there are some floating around online, I was born with big lips, okay? So don't be jealous. It's very rude to make comments like that. I'm flattered, though, that you think my lips are fake because they're so voluptuous. But yes, they are real. And they're actually more swollen now because I'm pregnant. So they're just going to get bigger and bigger. But yes, they are naturally big. But everything about me is natural and real, including the tiny fine lines that I have at almost 42, which is hardly any, and the 3 gray hairs that I have in my very, very black head of hair. Yes, everything is natural. I've never had anything done. I'm very anti-plastic surgery and fillers and injections and all that stuff because I think you should age naturally and just be who you are. So yes, wrinkles are great. Eventually, I will probably get more. My family, we just don't really age very quickly. Asian don't raisin, especially not in my family. I have family members who are over 80 and they still have barely any wrinkles. So this is all real. All right, so back to the topic at hand. Swing around, take a look right there in the corner. We have a potted magnolia tree. This is very special. My son, Shay, and I went 2.5 years ago to an Earth Day festival at Evelyn's Park in Bel Air, in the city of Bel Air, and they were giving away free trees of all different types. And we picked up a magnolia tree, and we've had it in a pot in our side yard at our current home, and we're having the landscaper plant it in our yard, so we bring it with us. This is a little piece of our current home. All right, so continuing on, you can see the grass all back here and another holly tree in the corner. We want to plant that a little bit away from the gate there because that gate is going to allow CenterPoint, for example, to get back there and work on that utility pole if they need to. And then we have along here the back more Plum Delight along the flower beds. And, it's good to have this all along here, again, because this is a pretty big, tall stucco wall. And so to just kind of mask that, and as they grow a little bit higher, I think they should probably get about this high. Our current home, the Plum Delights, are like 11 years old. That's how long we've been there. And that's about how high they are. So that'll really provide a nice border there. Okay, and you can see the back staircase is also now complete with the same tile at the front. There's no need to do a bunch of different colors and styles of tile, though you can, but keeping it uniform does create a nice look that is approved by our designer. And then the iron handrail custom going up. So here's the interesting thing. When they laid down the tile and the handrail got drilled in, they actually broke the tile the first time. So the tile guys had to come back and install the new one. And this time, as you can see, luckily it stayed intact. Nothing cracked. And I want to end right here. This is our upper patio right outside our sliding glass doors to the house and the outdoor kitchen that's in progress. So these are where there's going to be stainless steel cabinet doors. We've got the sink already with a stainless steel faucet with a pull down sprayer. Stainless steel is a good material to use for plumbing out here because it can withstand the extreme heat and potential rusting. Oh my God, what the heck was that? Ooh, it sounded like a really nasty large bug just flew up and hit our ceiling and landed. We got lucky. This is actually not the original countertop material that we had picked. Originally, we picked snow white granite. Now, granite is less expensive than the other materials that we have in the home. It also is very durable for outdoors, more durable actually than what we ended up with. But guess what? This was free, okay? Not the labor, but the material. This was leftover Mont Blanc quartzite, which is what we have in our indoor kitchen, that the fabricator had left over from another job. And it just works beautifully. Now, the only bad thing is that a lot of it's going to end up getting cut out because we're going to have an outdoor grill installed. You can see the gorgeous tile. I just love this. It's so exciting and so fun because in much of the home, there's a lot of just more, I guess, like neutral, well, these are neutral colors, but I should say like not patterned tiles inside our home. It's mostly just stuff with veining or very subtle, texture and stuff like that. So this is where we got to have a little bit of fun because it's the outdoor kitchen. And I also asked them to do very thin, the thinnest grout that they had, which is 1/16 inch, I believe. And so that really lends itself to looking like a big piece of art, like a mosaic. You don't see a ton of grout in between. Though that's a fine look too, but we preferred this one and that's what we have out here. And then if you just look up, you see this cute little modern ceiling fan that we have out here to help us stay cool in climate like this. All right, so that is it for this week. I hope you have a good one and that you will if you liked and enjoyed this video, and also subscribe so you don't miss an episode on YouTube. And I also repost the link on Facebook and LinkedIn, I should say. And I hope you'll join me again another week because we'll continue to look at progress throughout the inside and the outside of the home. Thanks so much. See you next time.